Well, hello. Welcome to Home's Garage. Today is going to be interesting. All right, so first I just want to say welcome to my channel. If those that haven't been following me, this is my channel, it's Omar's Garage. Most of my channel is mostly do-it-yourself, helping people to work on their, teaching them and training them how to work on their own cars so they can save money. And part of what I do on a personal level is I've always been able to buy, a lot of times, sometimes used cars, sometimes new cars, but I can buy a lot of times more upper end cars because I can work on the cars myself. In the background, you're going to see the my Porsche 911 Carrera. It's one of those things where the Porsche 911, the oil change is about $380 at the Porsche dealership. There's nothing different between a Porsche 911 and the Mini Cooper project car that I just picked up. If you've been watching my channel, it's just the bolt. It's a change of a filter. It's a paper filter for the oil. It's nothing out of this world, but sometimes you're just kind of afraid to kind of dive in. And what I wanted to do really with my channel, originally it didn't start out that way. Really, my channel just started off as me, just showing you, giving back to the community. There were so many videos that I watched on YouTube when I was starting out with a lot of the different cars that I had never worked on. I watched videos on YouTube that helped me out. So whenever I found something on YouTube that I couldn't find on YouTube, I ended up making a video to kind of give back, kind of pay it forward. So that's how my channel really started. And we are where we are today, which is the McLaren sitting behind me. I haven't really done much of that video yet. I'll do another video with a more thorough, showing you the car. I'm really excited about it, and I'm sure a lot of people that follow me are too. But I wanted to start off really by thanking all of my followers, all of my subscribers, the people that have liked my videos, that have commented on my videos. There's several folks that constantly comment on my videos. I know that they're watching, and I just want to thank you all, and I appreciate it, because YouTube right now has become a little bit more than I really expected. I didn't really expect to do anything with YouTube. I really just started uploading videos to kind of give back, like I said, to pay it forward. So it's kind of nice now that I am making a little bit of money on YouTube. It's not something crazy, it's not like I can't afford, a $380,000 McLaren new. I went to the dealership with my wife recently to get the pre-purchase inspection on this vehicle, which I'll get to, in a little bit. But I just wanted to say thank you, to all of my subscribers, all my followers, the people that have been watching me for a couple years now. I started this channel years ago. Never thought I would get to this point where, it's monetized, and I'm actually treating it, a little bit as a business. But obviously, it's not a business for me, because I'm going to be doing this regardless of, of YouTube. I'm going to be working on my cars regardless of YouTube. The only difference is now I take a little bit extra time to set up my camera and to do these videos and, set up the lighting, and, that's the only difference. So I just want to thank you. From there, my family that's always been supportive, my wife. If any of you are married, I'm in the garage all day some days, because I have a really thorough video that I'm going to shoot. And sometimes I'll start in one day and then pick up on the next day. And my wife, she's also a car person, which helps. But it's something that she's been really supportive and understanding when, I'm like, honey, I got to finish this project today. I want to drive this car tonight, and I don't stop until I stop, until I'm done. So, there's a lot of people that I want to thank. But, I am where I am today. Those that have been following my channel, I did a video not too far back regarding the F430 and the Corvette, the C8. And I went to the dealership and I checked out both. I checked out the Ferrari. It was a yellow F430 2006 with around 32,000 miles. And then I also, that car I actually had a deposit on. I didn't say anything to the channel because I wanted it to be a surprise. while I was waiting for that to work out, it turns out when you buy these supercars, exotic cars, it's not as easy, I guess. The banks have to verify things. They have to verify the value of the car. So, when you're getting finances, it's not like buying a regular vehicle, so that process took a little while. And while I was waiting, a McLaren popped up on my feed. I think I used Car Gurus or Auto Tempest, and I found this McLaren that was at a Toyota dealership, which was kind of odd for me because like, who trades in a McLaren at a Toyota dealership? The only thing I think of, somebody got a new Supra, but who would turn in a McLaren for a Supra? But anyways, I ended up reaching out to the dealership, and it turns out I think it was somebody that works there or is associated with their dealership, and it was a personal car of theirs, and they were selling it. So the car wasn't actually at the dealership, it was at this guy's home. So I ended up, like I said, when I was waiting for the F430 to go through, I ended up reaching out to this owner of the McLaren, which is the car that's sitting behind me now. It's a 2013 McLaren MP4-12c or MP4-12c, or now it's really just known as McLaren 12c. So I reached out to him. I went to check out the car. I went with my wife. It was sitting in a garage. He had several cars. I mean, he had a small, like a car collection there. And I drove it, and I fell in love. All right, so we're driving the McLaren MP4-12c. It's a 2013. It's a Spider, and incredible. I had driven the Ferrari F430 a week before. Awesome car too. I had the F1 transmission. But I'm coming from a PDK transmission, which is a dual clutch transmission on my Porsche 911. So I was used to the smoothness. I was used to the drivability. The shifts are super smooth. They're super fast. They're super precise. The F1 was just more raw. The F430, the Ferrari, was just more raw. So I had a raw feeling to it. It was an incredible car, and it handled like it was on rails as well. But the McLaren just felt more refined to me, and I was sold. So I started the process with the McLaren, and we were trying to work out like the financing terms and everything with the Ferrari F430, and that was kind of not going through the way that I wanted. So eventually, we ended up just dropping the F430 once I started dealing with the owner of the McLaren. So with the McLaren, there was a couple of issues. So it wasn't a normal deal in the sense that I'm buying it from a private seller, but we're going through the Toyota dealership, which will afford me a better interest rate, better financing, and it'll make things smoother as far as paperwork and things like that. So that was a good thing. The problem was the car, I don't think, was registered. Because of that, the car didn't have an inspection, a state inspection. So part of it for me, it's a very expensive vehicle. It's the most expensive vehicle I have ever purchased in my life. And I'm not a rich person. Like, I work on my own cars. That's why I can afford these things, because I plan to work. I plan to change oil on this, and I plan to do most of the maintenance on this myself. But the thing is that the car was sitting about 75 miles away from the closest McLaren dealership. Now, for me, getting into this type of car, this type of caliber, when the engine alone can cost you $30,000, $40,000, $50,000, I wanted to get a pre-purchase inspection. Now, the closest dealership to me was the McLaren dealership in Sterling Motor Cars. It's in Sterling, Virginia. They service Lamborghini, Rolls-Royce, and McLarens. So I called them up and I said, I want a PPI. They said, okay, we can do that. You just have to bring the car in. So part of the issues was I didn't have tags, didn't have insurance for this car. I was not going to put it on the road. So I actually paid to have the car towed 75 miles to Sterling from near Baltimore, Reisterstown, Maryland. So I'm already in it about $300 for a tow. It's a pretty long distance tow. And then I have to do the pre-purchase inspection, which is out of pocket for me as well. So we take it to the dealership, I went with my wife, we checked out the Rolls-Royce and the new McLarens, and absolutely gorgeous cars. And we were there, and I ended up talking to the mechanic that did the PPI on the car, and everything seemed like most of the things were pretty straightforward. The front brakes probably need new pads. There was, a little bit of seepage like in the front main seal, but it wasn't leaking or dripping or anything like that. It was just like you could tell, that eventually that's going to need to be replaced. He let me know that was the only thing that was kind of concerning. The other thing that was concerning, which was a big deal, is that the turn signal was bad on this car. It wasn't bad. The actual stock had broken off. So a little stick where you put your turn signal had completely broken off. And I knew immediately this is not going to pass state inspection. And so I asked them, what's the cost to replace it? They quoted me $4,200. So that was my first experience with McLaren and McLaren parts. And so that kind of turned me off in the beginning, but we were able to work a little bit, on the price with the seller. And eventually I got it fixed. It was a little plastic piece that was broken. We were able to replace the little plastic piece, and hopefully it should hold forever. But if not, then I'm already trying to source parts to get an original part in there, so we have that as good as new eventually. And that's another video that hopefully I'll shoot once I do that. But I got the exact spec that I wanted. I wanted a Spider because I've always had convertibles. If you know my channel, I've had a Corvette. My first car was a Mustang GT convertible. I had a 2003 Terminator Mustang Cobra convertible. I had a 2005 C8 Corvette convertible. And then I have the Porsche 911 Carrera 4 convertible. Now I have the Spider MP4-12c McLaren. So that's been the succession of my sports cars. I mean, I've had all other kinds of daily drivers. And I'll do another video actually on that eventually. But after the inspection, I think that was it. There was something with the hose, with the windshield wiper fluid or something that we also got, repaired or patched up. And then the tires checked out. Motor seemed to be fine. No oil leaks. The transmission had no leaks. There was a plastic trim piece on the front bumper that was missing, so that was bought up in the PPI. And they quoted me a price of $120 for that little plastic trim piece, so it's not too big a deal. The other thing, so overall, it was a solid car. The inspection went well. There was definitely things that, some expenses that are going to be coming up in the future. And it also needs their scheduled maintenance. I think McLaren requires you take it in for maintenance every year or something like that. So I have an indicator right now that says you're overdue 400 days. And it's just a matter of them, resetting that. But most likely I'll be doing the oil change on it, filter change, etc. But other than that, the car is solid. It runs straight. It runs strong. And the tires have a lot of tread on them. The only thing I may have to do, within the next maybe 10,000 miles, 20,000 miles is some front brake pads. But other than that, the other thing was, the next step for that was that the car was in Sterling, Virginia. And I live in Maryland. In order for me to get it inspected in Maryland, it has to be inspected by a Maryland state inspector. So the car's in Virginia, so that wasn't going to work. So I actually had to get the car towed to a buddy shop in Silver Spring, Maryland. And this time the owner, since he felt, kind of felt bad that I'm taking this car back and forth all over the place. So he offered to pay the tow up to the mechanic shop so that they could repair, the turn signal and do anything else that needed to be done to the car. And also my buddy was able to do the state inspection at the same time. He gave it another second pair of eyes to look over it, and it's somebody that I really trust. That's his Bill Wise, and he's in Silver Spring, Maryland. He works at Bill's Automotive Performance. All right, so I'm out here at Bill's. Well, it's Burt Mills Automotive, but it's also Bill's Automotive Performance. I am picking up my McLaren, and actually, ironically enough, they have a Red Fire Cobra, which is one of the vehicles that I had before that I completely loved. So we're picking it up, and we got a Porsche 911 also, a turbo in the bay back there. So we'll be out of here, picking up the car, finished paying, for the repairs that were done. It was just something simple, but the car's ready to go. He's the only guy that I will let touch any of my cars, other than myself. on the Porsche 911, he recently did the PDK oil change because you needed to have, the computer to open the valves in the transmission in order to do it right. And, I didn't have that, so I let him take care of that. He changed the boot. That was one of the boots was leaking on the front axle. It wasn't a major thing, but it was just, the grease was kind of coming out, and he replaced that. But anyways, he's the guy that I trust. And I took the car to him. He looked it over, and he said the car's solid, and that was that. Once I got the okay from him, then I continued the negotiation with the seller, and I feel like I got a pretty good deal on it. These cars, the unknown is whether the car will depreciate over time, or if it'll appreciate. You never know. But the car has 16,000 miles. It's a 3.8 liter twin turbo, and it puts out about 616, depending on which numbers you read. Horsepower, 0 to 60 in 2.8 seconds. I think 10.7 second quarter mile. It's a fast car, and I love the look of it. I love the look, and I love the way that the hard top is actually a carbon fiber top. All of my cars have been a soft top, cloth top. This is an actual carbon fiber top. So it's a hard top convertible. So it's something new to me, and I wanted to do something. I know it's not quick, but I wanted to present it to the channel because I'm already starting to do videos on this, and I'm still working on the Mini Cooper. So if you're following me, the Mini Cooper's still there. I'm waiting for inspection on Monday. I've gone through all the mechanicals and everything's ready for it. Eventually, I'm going to start doing the appearance, the aesthetic things. Like most likely, I'm going to be wrapping it. But stay tuned for that with the Mini Cooper. That's going to be my daily driver. I'm going to be doing some videos and shooting some videos with the McLaren. But my daily driver is going to be the Mini Cooper. Other news that's this is kind of bittersweet. Obviously I'm so happy that I have the McLaren now, but the Porsche 911 is unfortunately going to have to go. And it's been tough. If you're a car person, you know how tough it is when you kind of you have this affection for these vehicles. The Porsche 911 is something I got when my youngest daughter now was born. I got it a week before, and I wanted to play with it. I remember, and my daughter was born, but obviously my daughter, that was more important, obviously. So the car, sat for a couple weeks before I could really start tinkering with it when I first got it. So I remember, that reminds me that car is 5 years old, that I've had it for 5 years because my daughter's about to turn 5. So I've had the car for 5 years, flawless car, absolutely love the car. And as you can see right now, it's sitting outside. I can't do that to that car. That car has always been garaged. And right now it's sitting outside because the Tesla I charge in here. So I'm gonna keep it in here, but when I need to charge the Tesla, if I can't charge somewhere else, I'm gonna have to keep swapping the cars, and that's gonna get annoying because the Porsche is not gonna be sitting outside. And right now, that's the bittersweet and that's the sad news, is I am putting the Porsche 911 up for sale. So if any of you guys or gals are watching and you're interested in a really decent, amazing Porsche 911, send me a message. Follow me on Instagram, Omar's Garage, OMARZGARAGE, and but I'm going to be listing it soon. It's 62,000 miles. I've had a blast with it. The only thing I've done to it is the air intake. It's a carbon fiber FAP speed. It was like, I don't remember what it was. It's like $1,000 air intake. But that's it. It's an all-wheel drive. It's got all-season tires. You can drive it year-round, and I've driven it. In snow, and and I've always, I just recently waxed it. So that's going to be going up for sale. But the McLaren is here. Like I said, I just want to say thank you to everybody. It's been a lot of fun. I've really enjoyed making these videos. I've really enjoyed the interactions that I've had with you guys. I've had a lot of comments. The majority, 99%, are great comments. There's always that negative one, and that's fine. It doesn't bug me. But all of those comments, especially when I wasn't earning any money on this, YouTube, there's 2 years of making videos without a penny, and I never expected to make any money. So I did them just just to try to help people out, you know. And but really what kept me going and making the videos was there's gratification in knowing that you helped somebody. When somebody says, hey man, thanks, you know, you saved me $700. I was like, hey, you know, I was on the side of the road and your video helped me get back on the road. And, you know, things like that, those kind of things really, and I think a lot of the YouTubers that you talk to, they're going to tell you the same thing. Is a lot of times there is this gratification that you get from knowing that you help somebody out. And that's why for me, you know, I'm starting to do some of these vlogs, you know, in my travel videos I've always done, and most of them are just to have a memory for my kids so they can, you know, look back and watch that road trip they took with dad. You know, we took a road trip in a Tesla and we had to stop to charge, and, you know, they had something to eat and they went to the bathroom, but it's documented. My kids can hopefully eventually down the road check out these videos and see, you know, their family trip. So that's the reason I do a lot of the vlog videos and the travel videos. But it's something that, you know, stay tuned. You know, I'm going to be doing a lot with the McLaren, the Mini Cooper. I should have a lot of things coming up too, and you know, we're going to have a lot of fun. But I just wanted to do this video. I know it's a long video. I hope you guys were able to stick around, and I'll have a lot more. And now that I've officially announced it on the channel, then I feel like I can finally go ahead and start putting out some of these McLaren videos. So you all take care, stay safe, and again, from the bottom of my heart, I want to thank you all. You all take care.